Well, last week it was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and now another prominent former Democrat is joining the Trump train. Tulsi Gabbard, former member of Congress who ran for president in 2020, but then left the Democrat Party 2 years ago, in part because they're systemically anti-white and insanely woke, and now is endorsing Donald Trump.
This administration has us facing multiple wars on multiple fronts and regions around the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief. Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its political opponents and undermining our civil liberties, weaponizing our very institutions against those they deem as a threat. Kamala Harris has done this over the last 3.5 years. She won't hesitate to continue that if she is elected as president. President Trump has been their first and foremost target in this because they don't want us as voters to even have the option to vote for him.
Yep, and the Trump campaign has been putting out some real banger ads lately, like this one, which I guess Kamala Harris basically just made for them.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread cost 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
And a question that a lot of people have now is, will Joe Rogan finally join the Trump train? Because he recently signaled that he was supporting Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who now obviously supports Donald Trump. And then he backtracked on that and saying, well, he wasn't endorsing him. He was just saying that he really likes him. But he specifically said, this was 2 years ago now, so people can change, that he wouldn't have Donald Trump on his show because he didn't want to help him in any way, shape, or form.
By the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him.
The night is still young. We'll see.
If I have him on, the night is still young?
Yeah.
You think I'll have him on?
I think you'll have him on.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Well, Joe, it's because he, like many of your fans, assumes that you're at the tip of the spear, fighting against wokeness. You're part of the intellectual dark web. Wokeness being cultural Marxism, communism. And at this point, you have two choices. You have Donald Trump, despite his character flaws and somewhat offensive personality to some people, or you have communist Kamala. And their new cultural Marxism buzzword for overthrowing our republic is reimagining our democracy.
We can't just worry about protecting democracy. In this moment, we've got to reimagine it with people that look and love like us at the center.
There's not enough black or LGBTQ people in our democracy and the communist regime that they're hoping to build.
I think for us right now, it's about reimagining freedom and this American story in a way that is more revolutionary than what our founders actually put down on that little piece of paper, but instead is the type of democracy that is by and for all of the people of this country. That's the opportunity that we have.
Let me translate that nonsense. They have an opportunity to do away with the First Amendment, to throw away the Bill of Rights, that little piece of paper, and then install a communist regime. I mean, what's next? Is Kamala Harris going to promise free transgender surgeries for all prison inmates if she becomes president? Oh, wait, what's this?
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, I didn't get to choose my clients.
Right, a client of the Attorney General.
A client of the Attorney General,
right.
Of the Office of Attorney General, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need.
And as California goes, so goes the nation. And the Marxist Democrats in Sacramento are trying to pass a new law so that illegal aliens can be sure to get home loans so that they can get mortgages and then buy property in America. And the liberal media is upset that Project 2025, which is just a policy recommendation paper put together by the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank, that the liberals are trying to pin on the Trump administration as some secret plan of theirs, when it's just a public document, recommendations, like I said. They're upset that Project 2025, in attempts to try to save America, is calling to end giving loans to illegal aliens.
But not only does Project 2025 aim to close the border and to militarize the border, it aims to use every lever of government to find, detain, and deport undocumented people, going so far as to take funding and housing away from people who are just associated with undocumented immigrants. Look at this recommendation. It's to the Department of Education on page 167. It wants the Department of Education to, quote, deny loan assistance to those who are not U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents and deny loan access to students at schools that provide in-state tuition to illegal aliens. We don't use that word. That's their language. But
that's an offense. That's the new N-word these days. Yes, Project 2025 doesn't want the government to be funding any schools that are giving into... Yes, Project 2025 doesn't want the government or our tax dollars to be funding any universities which are giving tuition to illegal aliens in order to discourage them from allowing the illegal aliens to be there and then use our tax dollars to go to the schools. Now, Donald Trump has denounced Project 2025 and said that he has nothing to do with it and doesn't know anything about it, which is just a political tactic because he agrees with almost everything that's in the project. But he has to do that because the media has built it up into this big, evil, and sinister plan. And you know how dumbed down the general public is. And so Donald Trump has to pretend like he's against it. This time, he's got to play a little politics in order to hopefully win, because you can't play by a different set of rules than your opponent, or you're going to lose for sure. And in case you're interested, I launched a new Western-style Wanted for President shirt, which you should order from my online store at markdice.com, or click the link in the description below and check it out.